So a lot of people have been asking me exactly how did I create this self-portrait all by myself? Well, I'm going to walk you through the steps that I did to create better self-portraits. Hopefully you can take some tips from this and create some better selfies of yourself instead of just using your phone. What's going on, guys? My name is Josh Russell. I'm a professional photographer and a YouTuber. I teach tips and tricks and reviews about photography. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification. That way you're notified when I drop new tips, tricks, reviews, behind the scenes, and pretty much everything else in the life of photography. So I get a ton of questions all the time about how I create my awesome self-portraits by myself with just me in the studio. Well, I had some time today and I wanted to show you guys how I create my selfies and what I do. You guys should be able to follow along with this. You might not have this exact equipment. If you don't, I'm going to put links in the description down below. That way you guys can buy this exact setup if you want, including the Sony a7R IV, which I use. I'm also using my phone to control this. So that's one of the tips that I have for you. The first tip is get a camera that you can control with your phone. I'm pretty sure most cameras that are coming out currently, you can do that with an app. So just make sure you get a camera that you can control with your phone. Otherwise, you can do it with a timer, but it takes kind of a lot more work to do it. So the first tip is get a camera that you can control with your phone. So I have it set up. I'm going to be using my off-camera flash setup, which is the Neewer NW600 or the Godox AD600. It's the same light. And then I also have a giant reflector on the opposite side, and what that's going to do is it's going to create a really cool Rembrandt lighting effect. And what Rembrandt lighting is when you're looking at a portrait and you can see the little triangle on the eye, on the opposite side of the eye, that's what a Rembrandt lighting setup is. So it's a one light off one side and a reflector just kind of filling in the other side. You don't really need the reflector if you're going for true Rembrandt, but I like to use a reflector just because it fills in a little bit of the shadows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of walk you through the light process and show you what each step does. All right, so what I do is I use my phone with my app, and I am recording the screen right now, so I will put it down here so you can see what's going on. And it might be just a little bit off as far as timing, but you can get the gist of it. So if I'm right here, you can see me in the camera. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my settings just like I would any other time with a portrait. I've shot in this studio many times, so I kind of know what I need to go for. But what I do is I set my timer for 10 seconds, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to take my phone, get time to put it in my pocket, and still take this shot. So I have my camera set on single, autofocus single, and then I'm using spot metering, and I put the spot metering towards the upper third section of the grid in portrait mode or orientation. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step back here. I'm going to take 3 shots. I'm going to take one shot without any lighting, so you can see that I'm exposed for pretty much no background. Then I'm going to take a shot with just the 48-inch Octobox, and then I'm going to bring in the reflector to show you the final product. So, like I said, I'm going to pull this out. We'll put this over here. I'm going to make sure my flash is not on. My flash is, in fact, not on. So I'm going to just go back here. I'm going to get in my pose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my eyes are where they need to be when I take this photo. You don't want to get your camera to focus on you and then you move. So if you're going to be leaning forward, I would go ahead and lean forward, get ready. If you're going to just kind of be leaned back, wherever you're going to be, just get there and stay. So as you can see, I am in focus. My microphone cord is hanging out, which is kind of awkward for a picture, and we're just going to make sure our eyes are locked on. Your camera should find your eye. If you have eye autofocus, we're going to put it away and we're going to pose. And my flash went off. I don't know why. Let's try that again. Let's turn the flash off. And I'm actually going to bring this down to 5 seconds because that was a really long time to wait. So we're going to go here. My camera is running. My timer is on. We're going to set. And there's one with no flash. So that is what it looks like with no flash, basically pitch black. So we're going to turn our flash on. My flash, my Neewer is set at 1/64 power. I should say I'm shooting 1/500, f1.8, and ISO 100. Okay, so now you've already seen one of them, but we're going to take the same shot again. I'm going to get into pose, find my framing here, which is right about there. Make sure my eyes are locked on. This is basically where I'm going to pose from. Put that in the back pocket. And as you can see, the shot looks good. It's just a little dark, and that's where this reflector is going to come in and play a major role in it. And this is how I get my reflector in here. Because I'm going to take the reflector, I'm going to watch in my camera on my app. I'm going to bring it in until I can see it. Once I can see it, I'm going to start just wiggling it back until it's out. Once it's out, that's where we need it. And I'm going to just basically set back up again. My octobox is about an arm's width away from me, or arm's length away from me, and this reflector is about an elbow distance away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get nice and close. What this should do then is basically it'll create the flash, and it'll hit me on this side, but then it'll bounce off this white side of this reflector and come back onto my face this side. So I'll get in place, I'll get my pose, click the button, timer's going, and pose. So there you have a picture that was lit and reflected. I should mention that the backdrop that I'm using is a Westcott Glenduis backdrop. You can get one of those at the link down below as well. I used to add in the grain and the special effect all the time, but these are custom painted like this, and they are amazing. So this is just a quick tip and trick tutorial about how to do what I do. Hope you guys like this. I'll show you the final product after editing right here. And I'm going to get out of here. Once again, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.